Hello, and welcome to Unity Church on the Mountain, on the road. I'm recording now on Gunnersville Lake. Let us begin with our opening statement. There is only one presence and one power in my life and the universe, God. And now we pause and we remember the Christ light, the Christ that is all around us and within us. We symbolize it with a candle. And now, together let us join in affirming the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I would like for us to come together in consciousness, in a thought experiment. We can use it as sort of a meditation and prayer, where we can remember through this thought experiment the truth of who we are and our relationship to the universe. So let us take a moment to pause together, bringing in a deep breath, holding it for a short time, and releasing. Breathing in inspiration and releasing. Relaxing into this now moment. This now moment where we are together as one. Breathing in love and releasing, sharing gratitude. As we begin to relax our bodies, we still our minds. Thoughts come and we allow them to move on. Emotions, they are what they are, and we just allow them to come and go. And now imagine with me that you're standing waist deep in the most still and calm waters that could possibly be. A lake with a perfect glass stillness. A mirror reflecting the world. Your mind is as calm and as still as that water. Your mind is calm and still like the water. And into this calm and still mind comes a thought. Wiggle. Wiggle my toe. The thought has has made a movement in mind. And then you wiggle your toe at the bottom of that water. There was mind, calm and still. There was an idea to wiggle the toe, and then that idea comes into expression as the toe wiggles. Some moments later, not too long, after the single toe wiggle, there comes upon the surface of this crystal, still, mirror-like surface of the lake a slight ripple. The ripple comes from below and it touches the surface of the water, creating a wave. The wave begins to move from a single point. It radiates outward and expands. There is a shimmering beauty as the light reflects from the undulation, this wave form moving gently across the surface of the water. And another idea comes to mind. Wiggle my toe. And I do. I give expression to the idea, wiggle my toe. And soon after I wiggle my toe, there is another wave, another ripple rises to the surface of the water. This time I was so excited at expressing my thought, wiggle the toe, that I did it with a little bit more power, a little more strength. And the wave that forms at the top on the surface of the water is stronger. It begins to radiate out and it interacts with the previous waves from the first wiggle in a complex pattern of interference. And the beauty is multiplied. I began to become excited with the beauty, and another thought comes to my mind, and I give it expression as I stand on my tippy toes and sink back down. My body moves up and down, and almost immediately another wave, bigger than either of the first two waves, begins to propagate outward. I can see now that the entire lake surface has small waves shimmering, and the new wave, from standing on my tippy toe and going back down, is beginning to join with the first two waves as it propagates across the surface of the water. And again, I stand to my tippy toe and back down, and another wave. And I have another idea. What if I were to squat down in the water and rise up? And I do. And a larger wave is sent forth from my body. And as I stand up, some of the water that was on my body now falls down like rain into the surface of the water, causing even more small wavelets. Tiny wavelets mixing, intermingling with the larger waves. And they propagate across the water, and they join together these waves which are all part of the one lake, rising and falling, each with their own pattern. Each following that perfect, unchanging pattern that is the water in the lake. I stand there waist deep in this water and appreciate the beauty. Appreciate the symmetry and the change, the perfect circles, and how they interfere with each other. The perfect mess. Taking a deep breath, we come back from our thought experiment, grateful that we live in just such a perfect mess. All is in divine order, and we are exactly where we're meant to be in this moment. And grateful, thankful for nothing in particular. Just that feeling of gratitude. We say thank you, and so it is. Amen. Before this video started, I shared with you a quote by Marianne Williamson. It is often mistaken to be a quote from Nelson Mandela because he used Marianne Williamson's words in his inaugural address. If you didn't have time or you feel the need, please pause this video and go back and read that quote again. And then return to this spot. And let us together look at the meaning of this particular quote in our lives. From the time we were born, we have been living in a world of our own creation. What? Yes. As things happen in the world outside, the world around us, we look at them and we see something. We give it a name, perhaps. We give it a judgment. That was a good thing. That was a bad thing. I feel warm. I feel cool. We are creating our world that we see around us by our experience of it, by our perceptions. We, through our lives, have grown comfortable with this world, even if parts of it are painful, scary. It is the known. It is the world as we've come to know it, the way we are accustomed to seeing it. But deep inside of us, I can't remember when I first started feeling it. I was probably in junior high or high school when I began to have this yearning for more. A certain type of knowing that there was more. that this world that I see outside of myself is not all that there is. And there were perfect, beautiful little moments that I can remember, specific times. One of those times I was sitting in my mother's living room. The sun was coming in the window, and I had a moment, and it's hard to describe it, but I was sitting there with a notebook, my journal at the time, and I can remember writing down a poem that was coming to me as if it was dictated. It was a beautiful moment. I can remember having that same type of experience several times later. I can remember that feeling coming over me when I was in a geometry test. I didn't even need to get my test back to know that I had every question correct. It is that feeling of light. But it only came to me in small moments. And I have come to know, or I have come to long for those moments. But yet, when I came to that feeling, I specifically remember one night feeling that feeling and feeling that I was standing at the very edge of what I can only describe as an abyss. And I can remember the fear that I would fall off. There was that vertigo, that pulling at my stomach. And I was afraid. And I turned around. It was an unknown thing. And even though it was light, I had fear. What was I afraid of? The world that I had constructed for myself from the time I began to form ideas in my mind as a small infant. I began constructing that world, and that world was in danger, or at least that's what I thought. I felt like the whole world was in danger. Maybe even my very existence. When the known is to be exchanged for the unknown, no matter how good, no matter how powerful the light, strong the love, there is an amount of fear. But why? We are all children of God, created in divine image, the divine image of Source. That DNA that we inherit from Source, that Christ within us, is always there and forms our world into divine order, and we partake in it. We have choice, our free will. We choose how we're going to experience the world around us. We choose our own inner life. And we, as children of God, can expect the best. The greatest gifts, the joy, the compassion, the gratitude, the big love. All we have to do is say yes. We accept our inheritance. We claim it as ours. And we claim it by seeing it in everything around us. By seeing that perfect pattern, which is the Christ, in each person we meet and in every situation. We give that big love, and that big love comes back with overwhelming strength, and we continue to give as we see that big love in others at the heart of each person, regardless of what the action that we see on the outside is. We know at the heart of all of us is that perfect DNA pattern that we all inherit from Source. And when we acknowledge this, our vibration becomes a higher amplitude, stronger. It becomes a higher frequency. The vibration level increases. When we first wiggled our toe in the water, there was very little amplitude and a very low frequency. It was not even red yet. But as we began to move our toes, that frequency began to increase, and the amplitude, the power of the vibration increased to an orange. And we sat down and we had red, orange, and yellow. As we pulled out from the water, there was green, blue, the droplets fell, indigo and violet, and the higher and higher frequencies, the higher and higher vibrations. And these waves were moving away from us and coming back to us. And as they moved out, they combined with other waves. Sometimes they lifted each other up, and sometimes they canceled each other to a stillness. But always moving, always sharing, always one part of the whole lake. And this is how we are one. We are each little wavelets on the lake of the universe, of all creation. And at the same time, we are a being standing waist deep, making waves that propagate out. I am overwhelmed by the beauty of it. The beauty of it moves me. And I've been holding this guitar, and what for? So that I could play you a song. If you've been coming to Unity on the Mountain for long, then you've heard me play this song. I was reading one of the scriptures in the Nag Hammadi Library, Codex number 13. This particular scripture is called Trimorphic Protanoia. And I should tell you, protanoia is a Coptic word that means first thought. Trimorphic, three forms. So it is the three-formed first thought. And as I was reading, the words you're about to hear just jumped off the page. They sprang into my mind as seeds, and they came out as music. And this is the music I would like to share with you now. In the light, movement that dwells in the all, invisible one within thee, all protanoia, protanoia, protanoia. Speaking softly, I exist from the first. I dwell within the silence that surrounds every one of them. Protanoia, protanoia. And it is a hidden noise that dwells within me, within thee, within me, within thee. Silence she is, called by three names, although she dwells alone, since she's perfect. Protanoia, protanoia. And now please join me as we affirm together the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love. The power of God protects us. I am the power. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you so much.